Have you noticed that suddenly everyone seems to be talking about Roth conversions? Financial influencers, news articles, even your buddies at the golf course. And they're all saying the same thing: convert your retirement accounts to a Roth before taxes go up. But here's the question almost nobody is asking: should you? Because while a Roth conversion can be one of the most powerful tax planning strategies available, it can also become an expensive mistake if it's done at the wrong time and in the wrong amount or for the wrong reasons. I've seen people pay tens of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes simply because someone told them that Roth conversions are always the right answer. Well, they're not always the right answer, folks. Today, I want to show you what a Roth conversion may make sense, when it possibly doesn't, and what most advisors never explain before recommending one. Because once you understand these few principles, you'll be able to make a much more informed decision about your retirement. And if you're watching this video and you'd like help determining whether a Roth conversion makes sense for your situation, just click the link in the description below this video to schedule a complimentary consultation with me. Now, let's get started with the biggest misconception. Many people believe Roth conversions are about paying less tax today. They're usually not. In fact, a Roth conversion means voluntarily paying taxes now. And that sounds kind of backward, doesn't it? Why would anyone willingly pay taxes today? Because the goal isn't to reduce this year's tax bill. The goal is to potentially reduce your lifetime tax bill. That's a very different objective. Imagine two retirees. Both have $1 million saved. One has almost everything inside traditional tax-deferred retirement accounts. The other one has spent years strategically converting portions into Roth accounts. Now, fast forward 20 years later, if tax rates rise and required minimum distributions increase taxable income, or if one spouse passes away and the surviving spouse begins filing as a single taxpayer, those two retirees could have dramatically different tax situations. The person with more tax-free assets often has much greater flexibility. They can choose where retirement income comes from. They may be able to better manage Medicare premiums. Then they have greater control over taxation with Social Security benefits, and they may reduce or even eliminate the impact of future required minimum distributions. Notice something important here. None of those benefits happen because of the Roth account itself. They happen because of proper tax planning. That's why I always tell people a Roth conversion isn't an investment decision. It's a retirement tax planning decision. And that's the distinction that matters. And the problem is, some advisors simply recommend converting everything. Others recommend doing nothing because they don't want to risk their clients paying taxes today. But neither approach is necessarily right. The better question is this: how much should you convert and when? Now, for many people, the answer isn't all or nothing. It's gradual. Instead of converting several $100,000 in 1 year and jumping into a much higher tax bracket, many retirees benefit from converting smaller amounts over several years. Think of it like filling buckets. Each year has available tax brackets. Sometimes it makes sense to intentionally fill part of the lower tax bracket before moving into a higher one. Once that year ends, the buckets reset. Now, over time, that strategy may allow someone to move substantial assets into tax-free accounts while managing the taxes paid along the way. Again, every situation is different, but this illustrates why planning often matters more than the conversation itself. Now let's talk about why Roth conversions are still getting so much attention in 2026. For years, many people were told to consider Roth conversions before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act provisions were scheduled to expire. But Congress has since extended and made many of those individual tax provisions permanent, at least under the current administration, meaning the current federal income tax rate structure will continue into 2026 and maybe beyond. So the conversation has really changed. This is no longer simply about rushing to convert before taxes automatically go up. It's about asking a better question. Does converting some of your tax-deferred retirement money to Roth still make sense based on your income, your age, your retirement timeline, your estate planning goals, and where tax laws could go in the future? Now, no one knows exactly what the future tax laws will look like, right? Congress can always change the rules later. This is what I call legislative risk. But many retirees are still reviewing Roth conversions because today's tax environment may still create planning opportunities depending on their situation. Notice the wording: opportunity, not certainty. No advisor can promise future tax rates. What we can do is evaluate today's tax environment, today's income, and today's goals to determine whether acting now deserves consideration. Let's talk for a minute about legislative risk. You may spend decades building your retirement savings, but you don't control future tax laws. You know who does? Congress. If every dollar you've saved is inside tax-deferred accounts, your retirement income remains largely subject to whatever tax rules exist when you withdraw it. Some retirees simply aren't comfortable with that level of uncertainty. Diversifying where your retirement money is taxed can provide additional flexibility in the future. Just like many investors diversify investments, some retirees choose to diversify tax treatment as well. Now, that's a concept more people should understand. Here's another mistake I see. People assume the goal is to eliminate taxes forever. And that's unrealistic. The goal is to create more choices. Maybe some income comes from taxable accounts. Maybe some comes from tax-deferred accounts. Maybe some comes from Roth accounts. Having multiple income sources allows you to make withdrawal decisions based on the tax laws in effect at that time. That's flexibility. And flexibility can become extremely valuable throughout retirement. There's another reason this matters that doesn't get discussed enough. Your heirs. If leaving money to children or grandchildren is important, Roth assets may offer advantages depending on your family's circumstances and current tax rules. Again, this isn't about avoiding taxes altogether. It's about understanding how different assets are taxed over time. That's why retirement planning isn't just investment management. It's tax planning. It's income planning. It's estate planning. It's risk management. Everything works all together in one piece. Which brings me to one final point. A Roth conversion is not something I'd recommend making based on a YouTube video. Not this one or anyone else's. Because every decision should begin with your numbers, your tax return, your retirement income, your goals, your age, and your legacy objectives. What works perfectly for your neighbor could be completely wrong for you. And that's exactly why we take the time to build personalized strategies rather than recommending the same solution to everyone. If you've accumulated retirement savings and you're wondering whether converting some of those assets to a Roth before the end of 2026 deserves a closer look, we'd be happy to help you evaluate it. We'll review your current tax situation, we'll discuss potential opportunities and trade-offs, and help you understand whether a Roth conversion fits into your overall retirement plan. Sometimes the answer is yes, and you know what? Sometimes it's no. And sometimes the best strategy is somewhere between both. Our goal isn't to push products, it's to help you make informed financial decisions based on your unique financial situation. If you'd like to have that conversation, just click the link in the description below this video and let's schedule a time to talk. At Coyote Financial Services, we'll help you understand your options and determine whether a Roth conversion strategy makes sense for your retirement. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.